Hey, 8th graders. Are you ready to put on your detective hats? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to learn how to decode the hidden blueprints behind everything we read. Because here's the thing. Every single time you crack open a book, read an article for class, or even just scroll through a post online, you're looking at something that was deliberately built by an author. It doesn't just happen by accident. Just like a house, a piece of text has a blueprint. And understanding that blueprint, well, that is the absolute key to unlocking what the text is actually trying to do to you. Okay, let's dive right in. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's ground ourselves with Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. It says, "The beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding." This is a really powerful truth, and it totally anchors what we're doing today. True understanding really does start with this kind of biblical wisdom. But you might be wondering, why does this matter so much for us as readers? Well, because getting understanding actually protects us. When we take a step back and figure out exactly why someone wrote something, we're building a shield. We protect ourselves from being tricked, manipulated, or misled by the massive amount of information out there in the world.
All right, so here is our quick roadmap for today. We're going to start off with the blueprint of wisdom, then hunt down some clues to informative texts, and shift gears into spotting persuasion. After that, we'll decode explanatory guides, lock it all in with the master key, and wrap up with a really important look at education with morality. Lots to do, so let's get started.
Starting off with Section 1, the blueprint of wisdom, and getting into an author's intent. Think about a construction site for a second. A builder is never going to just start tossing bricks together randomly and hope a house magically pops up, right? No way. They start with a master plan. Well, a writer does the exact same thing. Before they type a single word, they start with a purpose. Author's purpose is basically the underlying reason or goal behind why a writer creates a piece of text in the first place. Are they trying to inform you, persuade you, maybe entertain you, or just explain how something works? Recognizing this purpose is, quite literally, like having a superpower. It helps you see the hidden why behind the words. If you can pinpoint their purpose, you can figure out their tone, spot any sneaky biases, and ultimately decide if the writing is reliable. Plus, it completely prepares you to write your own clear, purposeful essays. So if you remember absolutely nothing else from today, remember this one simple question. Why did the author write this? Seriously, say it out loud to yourself wherever you're sitting right now. Why did the author write this? You've got to memorize it. This is the master key. Every smart, critical reader asks themselves this question constantly. Every single time you read a text, ask it. Are they just giving me the straight facts, or do they desperately want me to go do something? Let's break down the different ways authors answer that question. Moving right along to Section 2, let's look at the clues for informative texts, where it's just about the facts. When an author's main goal is purely to inform you, everything about their writing changes to match that goal. Here's what you need to look out for. An informative text is going to use incredibly neutral language. It avoids words that carry any sort of emotional weight. Instead, it leans heavily on factual details, often throws in some diagrams and clear definitions, and this is the big one, it teaches without pushing an opinion on you. For example, think about a science textbook chapter on the water cycle. It's going to explain evaporation, condensation, and precipitation using really clear steps and visuals. It's definitely not going to tell you that evaporation is somehow better or more important than precipitation. That would be silly, right? It's just delivering neutral facts. When you spot these clues, you know your only job as a reader is to focus on accuracy and detail, not emotional influence. All right, part 3. Let's talk about spotting persuasive writing, which is all about changing minds. But what happens when the author does want to influence you? This is where they actively try to change our minds or influence our actions. And as intellectual detectives, you guys need to be on high alert here. Check out this comparison between two completely different approaches. Item 1 states, the temperature's rising. Okay, those are neutral facts. That's a purely informative statement. But listen to item 2. We must act now before it's too late. It is urgent and dangerous. Wow. Do you feel the difference there? Do you feel that pressure? That is persuasion. A magazine editorial arguing for renewable energy is going to use emotional appeals like this. They'll blend facts with opinions, dropping heavy words like urgent or critical just to stir up your feelings. They want you to take action. Actually, scratch that. They need you to take action, or at least they want you to feel that way. Recognizing this instantly alerts you to look for bias. You know the author might be selectively leaving out certain facts just to convince you. On to Section 4, Understanding Explanatory Guides, taking things step by step. Okay, let's take a deep breath and calm down from all that urgency and look at a purely methodical approach. Step 1, Mix flour, water, yeast, and salt. Step 2. Knead for 10 minutes. Step 3. Let rise for an hour. This is your classic explanatory how-to text. The author's purpose here is super simple. Teach you how to do something, step by step. They aren't trying to persuade you that baking bread is morally superior to buying it at the store. They just assume you already want to learn the skill. The tone is perfectly practical. You won't find any emotional, urgent language here, just really clear directions. When you see this kind of writing, your goal is just to follow the process accurately so you can build a new practical skill.
Bringing us to Section 5, the master key. Time to review these intents.
We've covered a ton of ground today, 8th graders, and it's time to lock all of this in so you can easily crush your homework later. Consider this your actionable cheat sheet for your critical reading toolkit. If the purpose is to inform, your clues are a neutral, factual tone. Maybe some diagrams, just like our water cycle textbook. If the purpose is to persuade, look out for emotional, urgent, biased language, like we saw in the renewable energy editorial. And if the purpose is to explain, you're looking for practical, step-by-step instructions, exactly like a bread baking guide. If you can keep this simple breakdown in your mind, you'll be able to easily define an author's purpose, list the main types, and totally explain how word choice changes based on what the author is trying to achieve. Finally, Section 6, Education with Morality. Because we have to know how to apply this wisdom. Let's zoom out for a second for a bit of a philosophical climax to our explainer. Because while learning how to decode a text is an incredibly powerful skill, power desperately needs direction. Think about it. Education without morality will hurt. What is the actual point of being super smart and highly educated if you just continue to make bad choices that end up hurting you and the people around you? Here at Heroes Smart Academy, we passionately believe in the Godly Learner series philosophy. It directly intertwines biblical morality with your everyday education. You could be the absolute smartest person in the room, completely capable of tearing apart a persuasive article or analyzing an informative text. But if you lack the moral compass to use that knowledge well, if you lack biblical morality to make good life choices, all that education can actually lead you down a really destructive path. Knowing how to read is the education part. Knowing what is right and wrong, well, that is the morality. So let's wrap everything up with this incredibly powerful promise from Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. The big takeaway today is that true peace of mind, the kind of genuine peace we experience when we apply this content the right way, comes from keeping your mind spiritual. As you head out into the world and use your new intellectual detective skills to decode what authors are really saying, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Will you choose to pair your brilliant intellectual education with godly wisdom? Because doing so won't just make you a smart reader, it will make you a truly wise person. Good luck with your homework, keep asking why, and I will see you on the next explainer.